Welcome to the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast with Jen Foster and Melanie Johnson, where authors give you their inside secret tips on how to be a successful best-selling author. Hi, welcome to the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast, here with Jen Foster and Melanie Johnson. Today we have Andy Lockwood. He is our special guest. He's an incredible author. He has written not one but two books, and he gives you all the inside secrets about how to get your child into college, not just how to get him in, but how to get him in and save a ton of money. So I'm right at that stage right now. My son is just starting high school. Both of them are, so I'm interested to get some of those tips as well. So welcome, Andy. Tell us about yourself and a little bit about your background and where you're from.
Well, thanks for having me. I guess I'm just like any other hot chick who writes books. I can't believe you just introduced me without making any type of reference, like honorary hot chick. So anyway, yeah, I'm a college.
Guys, Andy Lockwood, our honorary hot chick.
Yeah.
Let any guy become a hot chick, let me tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I mean, usually I think myself as pretty masculine, but I'm cool. So yeah, I'm a college consultant. I've been in this field about 15 years, and like you said, we help parents we help families get into top colleges and help them get discounts even if they think they can't possibly qualify. So I wrote a couple of books. I wrote one this year on admissions. I wrote one last year on financial aid, and I guess that's what we're going to be talking about.
Awesome. So what got you into your field? Like, how did you become an expert in college stuff?
So part of the reason was because I had a really rough experience myself with student loans. I went to a very expensive undergraduate college, Wesleyan University. And I worked for 3 years in between then and going to law school to pay off those loans. And then once I went to law school, I racked up another $100,000 worth of debt. And I worked as a lawyer for about 5 years, and I jumped to become in-house counsel to a publicly traded brokerage company. Long story short, downsized, started my own financial services company, and I used to go to a lot of marketing conferences back in like '99, and I met someone who did college planning who got me into this business.
Awesome.
Cool. How did you decide to write a book? Go from changing your profession and then writing a book about what you're an expert in?
Well, for a lot of the reasons I think that are going to make sense to you guys and your audience, I was looking for a way to expand my reach, to position myself, as the guru. So, I didn't want to get in front of people and have them haggle with me on fees and all those types of things. I saw a bunch of other people who wrote books, and many of them were just not that good, just to be perfectly candid about it. So I said, I should write a book.
Awesome. I like how you just I'm ready, I need to do it, and you just did it. I like that.
Well, that's the short version. I mean, the long, I wish that was the real version too. But it was a decision that took me. The first book, so I'm allowed to hold them up, right?
Yep.
So this is called I don't know if you can see it, How to Pay Wholesale for College, and this book was really inside of my brain percolating around for probably 3 years, because I'd read a whole bunch of other books on this topic. And one in particular I'd read multiple times, but I read like a textbook. It was very dry. So I said, I should just write something simple and do it. And ultimately, it took me way longer than to get that one out. And then when I decided to write the second book, which was about admissions, called The Incomparable Applicant, that was something that was a lot easier because I'd already done one. I just transcribed it and finished it off in a few weeks.
Awesome. So yeah, that's the next thing we want to ask about. So you transcribed it. How did you get started to write your book? Like, what are 3 tips that our listeners could do to start their book today?
First, be a hot chick.
Yeah.
Then, all right. So first is just decide it's enough already. I'm gonna write my book. I mean, there's no secret, but that's really the basic thing. I outlined it. I do a lot of public speaking, which may not be obvious from this interview. But I do a lot, and I talk to a lot of parents who are, Melanie, like you said, who are sort of going through this. It's like a rite of passage / weird subculture that happens once your kid hits high school, and it really intensifies when your child hits 11th grade. There isn't a day that goes by for most 11th grade moms where they don't talk about college stuff. So I do a lot of speaking, and I hear a lot of feedback, and I ask a lot of questions, and I answer a lot of questions, and I kind of said to myself, I'm just going to list all the questions I get, and I'm going to make sure that I cover them. I'm going to list all the questions that I wish people would ask me, and that was basically the book. So it's not exactly, I did get it pushed to #1 bestseller on Amazon, but it is definitely not a best written book. It's a best selling book. So I think that's the third thing is really, don't really get overly fixated on making it, a Pulitzer Prize winner or whatever Oprah Book Club winner. Just get it out there.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to do the purpose, which is to answer the questions and let people know how do we get into college for a discount, or how do we get into the right schools. Like, you answer all of their questions, so I love that. That's great.
You know what it is? I mean, there's others, of course, like in any business, I have competitors, and there's other people who do what I do. There's also a competition against the idea of whether, people, like a lot of people don't even know about my type of profession because it's really a cottage industry. Mm-hmm. So what the book does is it just advances the legitimacy ahead of, so by the time I sit down with someone, they're already pre-sold. They're already, they already get it. And it's much better than a business card, which people can be like, oh, great, just chuck it. It's sort of my the best compliment I have ever gotten from these books is it sounds like you're talking to me already, and that's really what it was designed to do, not be a textbook, but to be the equivalent of me giving my sort of my my philosophies and my how we do stuff.
Awesome.
So very conversational. That sounds great. Now, when you wrote it, did you you wrote down the questions? Did you do it by video and have it transcribed, or did you just write them out, or do it on your computer?
Yeah, I did not do it by video. I think that would have been neat to do. So when I get around to my third book, I think I'm going to do that, because then I can chop up the videos and send them out to YouTube and stuff. But I did it with a voice recorder, and I had it transcribed, and that was it. Then I edited it a few times myself. I sent it out to a real editor, and then I got it back, and then I sent it to probably 6 or 8 clients, that I knew and trusted, and I felt would do a good job. One of which is a principal of a local high school, and then it changed a lot from the initial draft that was transcribed to the final product.
That's great. So what would you think? You have the whole process. You've done 2 books now. What are your do's and don'ts to tell our listeners? What would you do different if you could, and what did you know you did right?
Yeah, so the easy one I already mentioned, which is just don't wait. There's no perfect time to do it, and if it means getting up an hour earlier and just outlining and transcribing, just do that. So I think the biggest don't is don't blow it off. There's never going to be the ideal time. You just have to sort of make that. And in terms of do, I think you just talk to people like you guys about the process, and you can I think the event that you have coming up is going to really not only shortcut people in terms of avoiding all these mistakes, but it's also I imagine going to be a very sort of collaborative, supportive environment, and you'll be able to learn from other people who've already gone through the process. So I think finding a mentor, finding someone who's already gone through it is like the best thing. That actually helped me with my second book, because we've mutual friends who we've all hung around with and listened to their stories, and that really motivated me and helped me avoid some of the mistakes I made with my first book.
Mm-hmm. Those are awesome tips. Yeah, we're hoping at our event you'll be there for a whole week, so you'll just be entrenched in it and getting it done, where sometimes it takes people a long time to get it done, and you just check out and just focus just on that. So since you've done these 2 books and you did it to help your business, what have you gained from writing your books? How has it helped your business?
So that's like the coolest question to think about, because well, the first thing I was thinking about was the event that you guys are doing, and like everyone in their bathing suits with pillow fights and stuff. Is that really what's going to happen, or no? All right. The other thing
on the beach. Yeah.
All right.
In the cabana. Yeah.
All right, so book stuff, fine. So there's been direct and indirect types of benefits. So in terms of direct benefits, again, when you hand someone, I do a little bit of networking, so I go to these networking meetings, and I'm meeting a bunch of accountants, a bunch of CPAs who, as a class, are really party animals. They're really fun. And everyone's giving business cards to each other. There's a lot of financial people. There's a lot of other people like, hey, but really it's like, here's my business. Do you have any leads for me? And then I'll go to these things and I'll be like, by the way, I wrote a book. Here's a copy. Why don't you check it out? Give it to someone who might need it. That type of thing. So that's it's right away. It's just a built-in way to just differentiate yourself, which is really cool because people chuck business cards, but they don't throw out books. That's something that we hear a lot. And then the legitimacy thing in terms of, well, he must be an expert because I saw him speak publicly. He's written 2 best-selling books. So that's a big deal also. Another thing is 2 more things that were sort of indirect. I was last week I was quoted in the Wall Street Journal, and the reporter found me through my website, and she saw the books. And what was really cool for me, I was psyched. So what was really cool for me was that actually, just to tie it in, the book that I read like 5 or 6 times when I got into this business 15 years ago was written by a guy who wrote this book with the Princeton Review, which is a big test prep company, and they publish stuff also. He and I were quoted in this article together, So,
wow.
That was like not that it made me $1 million, just but I was like, all right, so yeah, now who's here? Right?
Elevated you and put you in that arena with him, who had accomplished all the status and someone you had admired.
Right. So it was good for me. I don't know how much it really mattered to anyone else, but but for me it was whatever, a nice ego stroke. But I'll tell you that the coolest thing that's happened, this is sort of right in the middle of it right now, is that a guy contacted me, and because he read my books, it was sort of like a fan email, which I don't get every day, but I get them once in a while. I really liked your book, which is always gratifying. And long story short, he kept kind of like calling me, and the way he tells the story now is I blew him off, which I'm not proud of, but it took 3 phone calls. And it turns out that he had a business proposition for me that involved taking my information nationally, because he's a very well-known, reputable guy with a huge financial services company that we've all heard of. And so, long story short, we worked out a deal which involved like a 5-figure advance payment and potential to be like a 6-figure. He says 7-figure, but potential to be something big that we're in the beginning stages of. So that's just an opportunity that I never would have gotten and I wasn't seeking it out, had I not written both books.
Awesome. That's great news.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's really exciting.
It's one of these things that if it really happens, it'll be big. But he's already, they've already done something, so it's they're for real. But again, you never know who's going to read your book. That's sort of the message.
That's true. You don't know who there's going to find you, because it raises your status up on when people search you on Google. It pushes the search engine up for you, so they find you more than they would somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why your idea of doing a video and transcribing it is probably even better, because then you can hit all print, video, and I guess audio also at the same time.
Yeah.
It all. Yeah. I like doing video for creating books. It's good. It works really good. So how do you let people know? You said you do networking. How do you let people know that you're an author now? You bring your book and you give it to them, but what other kind of things or what kind of tips would you say you use for marketing your book?
I don't really do. I mean, I do a lot of public speaking and I do a lot of web, presentation type things. So it's just embedded in everything I do. I'm not Andy Lockwood. I'm 2-time #1 best-selling author Andy Lockwood, which a lot of my friends, goof on me for. But it just kind of permeates everything. So when I approach a group of parents, or I spoke to like a detectives association a few weeks ago, and I'm not speaking as someone who's like in business to try to sell something. I'm speaking as a best-selling author doing a book tour.
Right.
And that's a different approach, and people let their guard down more, and I don't. What are you trying to sell?
Yeah. That's good. And so you're in a different position where you're not just coming there saying, hey, I'm selling my services to help you get into college. It's, hey, I wrote a book and I want to share it with you. That's really cool.
Doing a book tour to promote my book, and I sell a few, and it's always nice. People want you to sign them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and then they're worth so much more money because you're a celebrity now.
Yeah, it was funny. So that when I spoke a few weeks ago, my mom came with me.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "You really gonna sell these?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So we sold, I think, maybe 20, for $10 a piece, maybe $20. And one guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I bought both." And I'm like, "Did my mom give you a discount?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Good." But she was like really into it. Yeah, so that was kind of fun too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I remember when I did one of my book signing parties, I actually didn't do I need to do a book tour. That's a great idea. But I just had people come to buy books and get their book signed. And one guy came and he was like, "This is going to be the best Christmas gift to send out to all my business people, so I'm going to buy 10." And I was like, sweet, I get to charge this card for $100. Like, and I do business with this guy. He's a great guy, but I was so excited. I was like, yeah, $10. Here you go. So it's fun.
Yeah. Well, I think an even better gift for him would be to give out his own book to his.
I know. I've been trying to talk to him to do that. He needs a book for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. So you promote it really through your events. You promote it on everything that you do, on your website, on your Facebook page, wherever you are, your book is, and that's how people are finding it. And then it's kind of twofold. You sell some of your books, but then you're also getting all these great rewards by having the book out there, which is awesome.
Yeah, and the theory is, I'm sure you guys know, is that someone who's going to spend even a little bit of money, like $10 or something, on a book, is already making some sort of micro commitment to you, and they're more likely to convert it. If you're a consultant like I am, and you're selling high-end stuff, they're more likely to convert into a client, a consulting client.
Now, do you work to try and get reviews for your book at all? Have you had anybody on Amazon get reviews?
Yeah, I asked a few people, and I got a few others I didn't ask for. I don't think it was more than 10 or 15 for each one. Mm-hmm. But it was but they were nice. Positive reviews. I actually had for me in my field, I had a guy write a review. It wasn't on Amazon, but he wrote a little superlative for the book. He was on the admissions committee of Princeton University for 35 years. Wow. And he wrote me a really nice thing. So that's like a sort of a he's not really a celebrity, but everyone knows who Princeton is. So it's kind of associating me with with Princeton, which is very funny if you think about it. but that's that's another way to sort of leverage this medium.
Yeah, and you put that inside your book, right? Like
it's on the it's on the back. It's one of these two quotes. The top one's from a high school principal, the guy I mentioned before. Mm-hmm. This is a great book, and the bottom one is from the Princeton guy.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your back cover too. Show that again. Looks really good.
It's a lot crammed in there.
No, it looks good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times the back cover is just the bio and a little synopsis, but I like how you have the quotes, and it looks great. Looks really
Thanks. See, I'm very hot chick. I'm trying to come through, trying to prove my worth.
Yeah. So, what would you say? What is a funny story that's happened to you since you've written your book? Like, what's a story that you want to share with us? Something funny that's happened.
Funny story? I'm not really in a funny field, but I'll tell you. Yeah, the funny thing is, like, when I'm out with the family or something, like we were out to eat at a steakhouse for some reason about 3 weeks ago. And we have 4 kids, and it's 10th grade, 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th grade. So I'm not I'm not the cool dad anymore. I'm sort of the eye roll, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was we had a good meal. I was paying, and then the waitress came back to me, and she goes, "I thought I knew you from somewhere. Once I got your card, I saw I have your books. I have the blah blah, and my husband saw you, and this and that and the other thing." And like my kids are like cringing, and.
Be impressed.
And it's like I say, I'm a famous person no one's ever heard of,
Yeah. Tell me I was a semi-personality. You're a semi-personality.
Right. And which could mean many things, all accurate. And my wife is like, she's all, oh, it's so great, it's so cool, and my kids are cringing. So that was kind of funny to me. It wasn't funny to them, funny to me though.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story. Yeah, because your kids are just like, oh, it's just Dad, and then they're, oh wow, she knows who you are. That's awesome.
Yeah, they don't want the attention.
And it was right when the thing in the Wall Street Journal came out too, so they're already like tired of me saying that to them.
Yeah.
So, I just wore them down basically. They thought I planted this the waitress quote from her.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, tell us, I mean, you've had such great stories, and really you've had a lot of success because of your books. And you've given us some of these tips, but encourage our readers, our listeners, why they should write a book.
Well, to me, the main reason is if you want to, vault yourself up in a different position compared to your competition. In other words, to be able to answer the question, well, why should I do business with you? I think if you've written a book and you're the instant authority, that question is answered just de facto without even them having to answer. It's asked and answered before they sit down with you. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, was the main reason for doing it. But then there's all these other possible, side benefits, which range from being able to embarrass your family to do something national.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so awesome that you were approached and that you can take this national because I'm sure when you started out you were like, oh, I'll help a few people, I'll be a consultant, I'll try and get some kids into college that wouldn't have before, and now you're on a way bigger path to go across country and helping people get into college. I like that.
So tell us, since we're talking about the cross country, give us 3 tips to help get your kid into college.
Well, what I'll tell you is first you have to understand the rules of the game, and especially you have a 9th grader now. Is that what you have?
Yes. Oh, I'm a 9th and a 10th grader next year.
Okay. So what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not really a meritocracy in terms of getting into a top college, and it doesn't. So in other words, if you just have great grades and great standardized test scores, that's not really enough because the academic component is maybe 60% of the overall package that admissions officers look at. So 40% of it is all the other stuff, and a lot of that's extracurricular activities, recommendations, volunteering, so on and so forth. And I guess the second thing is just understanding that colleges don't really want well-rounded kids. So Melanie, you and I are contemporaries. When we were growing up, that was sort of like, you did stuff to be well-rounded, and now it seems like colleges want specialists. So the way I look at it is it's kind of like a marketing, lesson. Just the same way you write a book to be able to answer the question why you. The subtitle of my book on admissions is the ultimate real-world, non-politically correct guide to giving yourself an almost unfair advantage over the other 5,000 competitor applicants with the same grades and SAT scores. And what that speaks to is that you've got to think about doing things that are not the same as everyone else. You've got to be thinking about doing atypical teen activities. Mm-hmm. So that's really the second tip, is don't do the same thing everyone else does. And I guess the third tip is just understand that different schools have different levels of generosity. Some are a lot more free with money, and some are not. And that's really more of a how to get money tip. But people just they wake up when it's too late, and they're like, well, she wants to go here, but they only gave us $5,000, and the school she doesn't want to go to gave her $25,000. How come? I thought everyone gave the same amount, and it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. It's good to educate. Those are great tips, and I think that's enough to entice people to get your book and want more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Amazon.
I have a 9th grader, and I bought your book. I need to go read it now. So yeah.
Reading it's good too. Yeah, buying it's great, but. It makes a great holiday gift too. Not for nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I should buy 10 of them because I've got some Christmas presents I need to hand out for all of my, cousins and siblings that their kids are going into college soon too.
I can't think of a better gift. Just keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Well, we would love to invite you to our Hot Chick event down in the Dominican Republic. We think you'd make a great guest to come down there. You could be the honorary hot chick down at the villa. where we're gonna have, and we've got this incredible villa. Oh my gosh, it's 7 bedrooms, and it has a gym in it. It has a pool overlooking the ocean, and it's got a chef that's going to be there every day cooking breakfast for us. And we've got this fabulous itinerary, and within 6 days they're going to have their book written. We're going to have a marketing plan all in place for them and implemented and ready for them to go and have their book launched and pushed to hopefully a #1 bestseller for them. So we're really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's an unbelievable thing you're doing, because it's just a way to get away. There's a real value in getting away from whatever you're doing day to day and stepping out of that. And when you throw in the whole Dominican Republic thing and the chef thing, it's better than anything I do. So
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah,
we're excited. It's going to be lots of fun. We are going to be limiting it to women for this summer, but in the fall we're going to do another one.
You were joking.
Yeah, we were joking.
I'm not really invited. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have another one in the fall that we'll let men come to too.
Yeah.
So how about like hot chicks who tease guys book retreat?
Yeah, that would be
I love
good.
You're all the same.
Hilarious.
No, we are actually going to be using some of our podcasts to teach them there and play a little bit of our podcast, especially when you're giving your great tips on college. So you will be an honorary guest with this video. So
it's almost like I'm there with the pillow fights and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think the whole idea of podcasting to develop the content to make into a book, whether it's video or audio, I think that's really smart too. That's something I need to think about doing too. So I want to thank you guys for that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, thanks so much for joining us. You have been a blast. You've been so much fun to have here and really informative. I think it's going to help everybody listening to get great ideas and to be inspired to write a book. So thanks for coming to Hot Chicks Write Hot Books. Andy Lockwood, buy his 2 books. They're fabulous. If you have kids that are going to be going into college, if you got younger kids, it's better to know sooner as opposed to later and be well advised ahead of time. So, and he also does consulting, so not only can you read his books, you can hire him personally, and you can work with him one-on-one, and which I think is the way to go. Then you really, for sure, will get the best financial tips that'll save you all the money. It'll be worth the money because you'll save a ton of money getting your son or daughter into college. So thanks for joining us at Hot Chicks Write Hot Books. Our website, hotchickswritehotbooks.com, and please subscribe to us.
And let's make sure that we let Andy say what website can we find you at, or where can they find more information about you?
collegeplanningGuru.com.
Awesome. So we'll have that link there at the bottom, collegeplanningGuru.com.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
For more information, you can visit our website at hotchickswritehotbooks.com, or you can text your name and email address to 832-572-5285.